hello. Great evening, beautiful Sunday, sensational Sunday it is. I don't know about you, but y'all, it is pretty cold outside right now. As a matter of fact, we are under a winter kind of freeze for the next 12 hours here in Mississippi. And can I add that my baby has a soccer? They have their school championship game tomorrow night. And I think me and quite a few of the other parents have our fingers crossed that they're going to like reschedule it. But anyway, we hope that wherever you are warm. As a matter of fact, tell us, who are you? Where are you joining us from? We are so elated that you would be willing to spend just a little bit of your time, a little bit of your Sunday with us tonight as we explore this topic that is so relevant to each and every one of us, myself included, right? Tonight, I have two phenomenal counselors who are coming up and they are going to guide us on this discovery of how can we better manage the hazards of the holidays. You might be wondering, like, what am I talking about? The hazards of the holidays. I'm talking about, you're at the family dinner and auntie pulls you aside and be like, aren't you ready to have a husband and a child yet? And you've already told her 10 times that wasn't what you wanted at this point. Or how about at the corporate gala, right? The person that you've had all this conflict with, maybe they've had one too many cocktail and they are ready to tell you about yourself. How do you handle this? And so we have two phenomenal ladies who are talking about this. But before we get into this, I need you to do me a favor. What's in your cup tonight? Y'all, is holiday cheer. Even though y'all know you rarely hear me say I have coffee, but I actually have coffee in my cup tonight. I don't think it's probably a good idea, but that's what I have. Coffee in my cup. And also tell us what's been a win for you this past week. We're getting ready to close out this 2025 year. And the thing that too many of us will do this time of year is to beat ourselves up about the goals that we did not attain. What I want to challenge you to do is to flip the switch and ask yourself, what did I do this year? How did I fail forward? Because can I tell you, I didn't get everything right, but I tell you, we learned something from those things. So drop it in the chat for me as I'm getting ready to bring up these phenomenal guests who I promise you don't want to miss. Make sure you guys help us get the ball going. You know what to do. Like the video, share the video, tag somebody that just might be in the boat with you trying to navigate these situations together. But again, go ahead, tag. Tell us where you're joining us from. What's in your cup? Yeah, I have a little bit of coffee, not too much. All right, I'm just going to drink half of it, not the whole thing. In the meantime, welcome to my phenomenal guest. We have the one
Good evening.
Dr. Jamie Williams, and we also have one and only Miss Elizabeth Reynolds, and you guys have actually seen her.
Good evening.
She's been on with us before, and so we are so very excited to have both of you ladies with us here tonight. So before we get started, just tell the folks hello, because I'm about to tell them all the amazingness of who you are, but tell the people hello. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, I am joining you from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, here on the wonderful Mississippi Gulf Coast.
I love it.
Good evening. I am joining you from Terry, Mississippi.
We love it. We love it. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about these wonderful women. Dr. Jamie Williams, LMFT, is a native of Meridian, Mississippi. She is a dedicated licensed marriage and family therapist with over 18 years of experience in her field. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in marriage and family therapist, and a PhD in human ecology with an emphasis in marriage and family therapy. She currently serves as the clinical supervisor at the Fleet and Family Support Center on board the Navy base here in Gulfport, Mississippi, where she has worked for the past 14 years. Prior to her tenure there, she worked in community mental health in local school districts, providing mental health services for children and families. She's a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. See, y'all see, we don't reserve it just for the pink and green. We love everybody over here. Okay. And the Mississippi Gulf Coast chapter of Jack and Jill of America. She is also a community leader and educator. She's been recently honored for her contributions and continues to uplift and inspire. She's been married to her husband, Dr. Christopher Williams, who is a superintendent here in the state of Mississippi for 20 years. And they have two children, Christopher Jr. and Jade. And y'all, her babies are amazing. Okay, y'all heard her said, I am a fan of her babies. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Elizabeth Reynolds. She is a licensed professional counselor in both Mississippi and South Carolina. She received her Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Southern Mississippi in psychology. She received her Master's of Science degree from Mississippi College in marriage and family therapist. She has been a therapist for 12 plus years, and over the years, she has worked an array of disorders from schizophrenia to depression. Elizabeth has treated adolescents as well as seniors. Needless to say, she has seen and heard a lot. Elizabeth loves what she does and embraces all of its challenges. Her therapy style is very welcoming, relaxed, and non-judgmental. She will meet you exactly where you are and help you get to be where you want to be. Elizabeth often tells her clients, I'm not the expert on you. You are. And when you hear her, you will hear that often. She strives to empower you to discover the best version of yourself and achieve your goals. Y'all, she too is a married woman with 3 beautiful children. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Yay.
First of all,
Good evening.
because y'all, this is an on-air counseling session. You're getting to see me in counseling tonight. I told these ladies before we came on, I am Dr. Grinch tonight, and I have my Whoville hair going. Okay? So just go with it. Just go with it. Welcome, ladies. We are so excited to have you. And we're going to jump right on into this topic for tonight. Again, folks, you guys know what to do. Like, share this video, tag somebody so they can join us on this journey of becoming our most bold, optimistic, spontaneous, and substantial self. So here we go. We're diving right in. Question 1. What's the biggest holiday hazard that you guys see that trips them up the most when it comes to family dinners or work parties, and what can we do to better respond without losing our control? The statement that I made a few minutes ago, like that's a real comment that I don't think we're ever together as a family and somebody's not bringing up to somebody else younger. You know, I'm an old lady at this point. You know, I think they've decided to leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you getting married, you don't want more kids, like all those things, right? And for some people, it is a very sensitive subject, right? To the point that, like, so I'm just not gonna come this time. I'm tired of Aunt so and so bringing it up, right? So, but from your opinion, what have you seen as being some of the biggest holiday hazards that some of your people you have to support? What do they see, and how do you support them in the area? Help us out because we, the people, need to hear.
I guess if you don't mind me going first.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess some of the bigger hazards that I have seen during this holiday season, any holiday season, I would say, would be feeling obligated to go. First off, I have a lot of people who feel like, well, it's Christmas though. It's Thanksgiving though. We do this every year. We've been doing this 20, 30 years. I have to go. But I'm here to say, who said? You have choices. And I feel like during the holiday season, people forget that they have choices. When it comes to certain family members, people forget that they have choices where you may be very strong-willed and very opinionated in your life on other occasions. When it comes to the holiday season, for some reason, we feel that we are obligated to come. And I consider that a hazard because we have options. We have an option to go. We also have an option not to go. And if we decide to go, how we go, how we show up, and also how we leave. We get to make those choices. So remembering that we have choices is very important, and it can be hazardous to feel like you don't because you feel powerless. So you definitely going into the Christmas holiday, into the dinner, feeling defeated because you feel like you don't have any choices. And another thing that I find, it kind of goes in with that one, people feeling that they are powerless in the situation and having the perspective that it's going to be awful, already thinking. We build it up in our mind. I don't know why our mind never goes to the positive. When we create a narrative, it got to be the worst. It got to be everybody gonna be looking at me because I didn't put on these 25 pounds and they gonna say something about it. I know they gonna say something about it. So we build it up. So I find that as a habit. They're gonna say it. And I tell my people, because that's people I serve, I call them my people. I tell my people all the time, I don't understand. Our mind always goes to, they gonna have to. There's no way that we assume that things are going to go well. So also having, that will be my second hazard, having that negative perspective, creating this narrative that is going to go awful. Therefore, we are creating that thing that we are dreading happening.
I love that. So two things, y'all drop this in the chat that she just said. Drop this first. I have choices. And I think we do forget that. We do have choices.
Yes.
And I think we do feel obligated. I was talking to another friend earlier, and we were talking about traditions around this time of year. And we, I'll be honest in saying I'm getting to age now where I remember the big traditions that we used to have growing up, and I miss them, right? And so, like, you're stuck in between this place of I want to create these traditions and pass them along, but how do I also balance my need to protect my peace, right? So y'all dropped it in the chat. I have choices. Something else that you just said, I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and the guy said this. He said, I wake up every morning and I say this out loud: what's the best possible thing that can happen to me today? Right. And so I want to challenge you guys to kind of take that same approach. Like, what is the best thing that can happen? And that goes right along with the other thing that you said. So drop that in the chat. I got choices. I have choices. Drop it how you want it, even however you want it. I have choices. And then, ask this question: what is the best thing that could happen to me in this situation? Dr. Williams, weigh in. What are your thoughts? What are some of your big holiday hazards that you see trip us up during this time of the year?
Ma'am, so I love what she said about having choices and traditions, and we want to stay in that, and we do feel obligated. She's so correct
Mhm.
about that. The other thing I would add to that, that kind of builds on it, is family trauma. Family trauma
Absolutely.
tends to come out around the holidays, triggered in one way or another, and that family conflict. So that argument that's been going on between Aunt Inez and Aunt Ina, we
Hmm.
get in the same space and we want to, relive what happened 30 years ago. And this is an actual example from my mom's side of the family, of, well, you got the coat when we were 12 that dad bought that I didn't get, but I'm the oldest, that kind
Hmm.
of that happens. And so that family conflict, and that's why I love her saying that you do have choices, that you don't have to go, you don't have to subject yourself to that. And for those that are hosting the holidays, this is not the time to talk about those family secrets. And sometimes with African American families, we've got those secrets, we've got trauma that we may not even understand, or we may have repressed from children, from childhood, and so forth. And sometimes those triggers are there. Sometimes we don't know that those triggers are there until we get around aunt such and such, or uncle whoever, or cousin whatever. So if there's any negativity, just like she said, that was another excellent point of the negativity. If you're feeling some kind of way prior to going to a family event or even a job event, if you're feeling some kind of way, check those feelings, self reflect to say, why am I feeling so negatively
Hmm.
about going to this normal family Christmas dinner that we
Absolutely.
normally have, and go from there. And if you can't do that, get into therapy. I just think there's still such a stigma in the African American community of going to therapy for whatever reason. It could be you don't air your dirty laundry to other people. What happens in the family stays in the family. And we really have got to do a better job of advocating for each other, for family members to go to therapy. So if you can't self reflect, or if it's too painful, what have you, seek some therapy. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy before you go to that. If you do choose to go, get some therapy prior to going. It's nothing wrong with that, to have an outside perspective of kind of helping you piece together some of those things. More immediate than not, if that makes sense. So as soon as you're feeling that way, processing what that is. And also for the host of any events, let people know, look, Auntie, this is not the time to
Hmm.
we're not going to do that. This is my house, my event. We're not going to do that this time. So if you can't behave, you will be put out. That's called healthy boundaries. And we ask people to leave our homes or our events if they're not going to behave. So, trying to confront some of those things ahead of time before the event.
I
Mhm.
love that. So y'all drop this in the chat. A pre-correct is always appropriate. And so in the world
Mhm.
of education, right, when we're talking about, and sometimes we think about social emotional learning just for students, but we are also as leaders always having to model the expected behavior for adults, right? And so even as an adult, right, as a principal who would always host a listen, I'm gonna hope we gonna work hard and we are going to celebrate hard, right? But even in those times, especially if it was a more off campus event, or one that they're more socials, like, no, we got to set some boundaries, we got to set some expectations for rules of engagement,
Yes.
even professional setting, because I don't want you to get too personal in this professional setting, and then come Monday you shame because you did too much with your colleagues, right? These are real conversations and real things that happen, and if we are real leaders in our families and our jobs, like we've got to be willing to open up our mouth and say something. And you said the word advocacy, right? Y'all know the B stands for being bold. A part of that is showing up the realest version of yourself, and the other piece of that is about advocacy, right? So we can have these great ideas and these great expectations for the people that we serve, but if we aren't communicating it, we leave so much to the world of assumption, and y'all know what happened. We
Mm.
just assume people know if we're saying we're having a holiday party, that this is supposed to be positive and happy. Don't
Yes.
have stuff here, right? So I love that. This
Mhm.
is going right into the next question, because we all know as boss folks, our evolution is necessary. It is absolutely
Mhm.
necessary for greater impact, right? And so as we evolve, quite possibly others who are watching our journey will possibly say, "Oh, you've changed.
Sure.
It's become difficult. She's become too much, or she thinks she's A, B, C, D, E, F, G," right? So personally and professionally, how do you encourage people to set those boundaries? And I'm not going to say without being labeled, because we know we cannot control what other people do and say, but knowing that if you're labeled that, how do I still navigate in my elevated version of myself without feeling guilty about that? So how do we
Mhm.
operate in a way that, we're better, we're stronger, we're wiser, and we're not allowing people to shift us back to a previous version of ourselves?
I guess one thing that comes along with boundaries is realizing that it's about self preservation, and it is not about ending relationships.
Say that
A
one more time.
boundary,
One more
it's not
time.
about ending relationships. Boundaries is not about you ending relationships. When someone says, I'm setting boundaries, and then you go cuss out your grandmama, that's not a boundary, because people use it too loosely. They do.
Yeah.
Dr.
That's my
Williams,
boundary. You ain't gonna
baby.
talk to me like that. That's not a boundary. I am never, you are never gonna be in a therapeutic environment and somebody says the good doctor is not gonna tell you to set a boundary and then you go cuss out your mama. No, that so it's not about ending relationships. It's not about being disrespectful. It is about self-preservation. And it's also about saving relationships and nurturing the healthy parts of it. If you are, if during this holiday season, you kind of tapped on it earlier about, I am not talking about that. I'm not talking about that because when we talk about that particular thing, I feel like I want to cuss out grandmama. So to keep from doing such, I'm just not going to broach that subject. So that is going to preserve my relationship with grandmama because we ain't got to go down that road. So it won't stop at I'm not going to talk about it. It also can lend itself to I'm not going to even bring it up. If you
Mhm.
know, if you say a thing, somebody else is going to say another thing. We can
Mhm.
control not bringing up that thing. I have control not. I'm not talking about my job at the
Mhm.
Christmas dinner because if I talk about my job, Uncle Eddie gonna tell me how therapy ain't no real job, and it's gonna go downhill.
Yeah.
He is. He's gonna say that, and it's gonna go downhill. So,
Yes.
in order to preserve my sanity, I'm not going to bring it up, nor am I going to talk with him about career. So, not only not talking about it, I'm not bringing it up as well. Also, not going would be a thing. If I don't want to go to a certain house, maybe you had some kind of traumatic event, maybe your abuser is at this
Yes.
function, and you all keep inviting my abuser and he and
Yes.
ha him and Kiki with my abuser that we all know did the thing. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
I don't show up. That's my if he there, I'm not there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just that on that. And that makes sure that the people who are in that home know I still love and care about them. But that particular thing is a boundary that I'm setting. And that's not me ending anything. If they want me there, they won't have that particular person there. Also, think about setting time limits.
Oh, I
If
like
you
this.
know that being
Absolutely.
around your family for a certain amount of time is going to run your pressure real high and hot,
Yes.
or if you know you only got a certain amount of time before the alcohol comes out, and when that comes out, all hell breaks loose. If that's the case, I know, okay, I'm gonna give it a couple of hours. I'm gonna kiss everybody, hug everybody, love on, give me a couple plates, and then I'm gonna leave. That's okay. We can have time limits as well as a part of our boundaries. And if I get uncomfortable at any moment, I know I can leave. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm feeling uncomfortable, we got to cut this thing short. So just remember, as it pertains to boundaries, anybody can get them. Anybody,
Mm-hmm.
including your mama, mama, daddy, sister, brother. Everybody can get them, but just know it doesn't have to be anything negative. It's not about you ending your relationships, being ugly to people, being disrespectful. It's not about that. It's about what do I need to do for me in order to maintain these relationships, to be cordial, to keep it healthy, to keep the love there. So these things I need to put in place so we could be good and the relationship can maintain itself.
I love that. Drop it in the chat, y'all. Boundaries. Everybody can get it, right? Everybody can get it.
Anybody.
Then you hear me say this often till we start this. We are here for a good time, not a long time. And I think that's a great way with any event, with any social gathering, right? You're there for a good time, not a long time. You're not going to sleep where you're
Mhm.
going. So go there for the good and then get on out of there. Dr. Williams, what are your thoughts on that?
I love everything she said, and I would also
Thank you.
add to that that boundaries are is not selfish. And a lot of
Mhm.
times with boundaries comes assertiveness. Now, the aggressive part would be cussing out grandma.
Absolutely.
Although you may want to cuss grandma out because this is the third time she tapped on that nerve, but
Mhm.
that would be the aggressive side. The
Mhm.
opposite of that would be passive. You want to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. So the middle ground of that is assertiveness. It is not selfish to say no. It is not
Absolutely.
selfish to protect your peace, like you said earlier, Dr. Nelson. That was really great because I'm all about protecting my peace. I've worked too hard to get my peace to let others take that away from me. So the assertiveness and the boundaries. And I would say, adding on to what she spoke about, is don't start Christmas Day setting boundaries.
Mm.
Set boundaries. Start that from the time that you're starting that journey of assertiveness and your
Mhm.
journey of peace and wellness. And if you're feeding your family or your coworkers those boundaries throughout, then it won't be as much as of a surprise when you get up and walk out or
I
say, you
love
know
that.
what, I had enough. I'm gonna see y'all later. Oh, was she acting bougie? Yes, ma'am. If that's what we want to call it, that's fine. But I'm out because it's too much
Mhm.
and I'm done. The other thing about boundaries that people may not realize is boundaries is setting trust. If you don't have healthy boundaries, if you go back and forth, and one minute you are cussing grandma out, the next minute you're not saying a word and not standing up for yourself, people don't know where you're coming from. So it's
Mhm.
better to have that assertiveness because whether others realize it or not, you are giving them that sense of trust. Well, I know Jamie's not going to put up with this. That's exactly right. Jamie's
Mhm.
not going to put up with it. So I'm glad that you know that about me. So it really sets that healthy part of being who you are and being who you are authentically by having healthy boundaries. And you're so
Mhm.
right that people use that term boundaries so loosely. Uh,
Mhm.
we have to be careful about that as well and sticking to what you say you're going to do. If I'm
Absolutely.
leaving at 1 o'clock, I'm leaving at one. Do what you say you're going to do because that also sets up the trust that's kind of the foundation when it comes to boundaries.
Mhm.
Listen, y'all are preaching tonight. Y'all drop it in the chat. Boundaries builds trust. Like that's the whole
Mhm.
something. And then assertiveness, right? Assertiveness is not selfish. So y'all drop those two things in. I'm putting it. Listen, I have notes too.
Hmm.
I told you
Hmm.
we have a session tonight, right? So boundaries,
Dr. Nelson,
yes.
can I add one more thing? Because she touched my spirit a second when she said you don't have to wait till the holidays and right now to start these boundaries. I love that because you triggered something within me when you said that. Because we do wait until a thing comes up and now we got boundaries and rules that we don't want to cross, where we can start them on today, right now. When you have that particular person that calls you and always wants something, maybe
Yes.
I get on off the phone whenever they get to asking me about what they want.
That's right.
Maybe
Yes.
I just text that person I know who gonna talk my face off. I
Yes.
text them instead of calling. I still want to maintain
Yes.
contact, but I'm just gonna text them. Maybe if I had that family member who always talks about a particular ex-boyfriend of mine and gets me real mad,
Hmm.
whenever Johnny name come up, all of a sudden I got to get off the phone. Oh, babe, I gotta let you go. And I go on and get off the
Hmm.
phone. And just as you said, that teaches people how to treat you. So they know when I come to Christmas dinner, girl, don't you say nothing about Johnny, because she don't, because if you say something about Johnny, she's
Right.
talking to you. You teach people that. So you're absolutely
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Because when you
Hmm.
start putting that stuff in place, when the time comes that you have these type of events, people already know, girl, she get on the phone with you if you get to talk about such and such. Don't bring that up at dinner. I want her to stay. Okay, thank you for
Hmm.
respecting me because I want to stay too. That type of thing. So go ahead. But I just had to
Yes.
say, you touched me with that one. Absolutely. Start today.
Start today. You drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
Start today, right? And even, professionally, I think so many times, especially as women, we are afraid to speak what needs to be said.
Mhm.
Because in the workplace, sometimes assertiveness can, you feel like I'm going to be punished for expressing my thoughts. And so the more we learn in every aspect of our life to activate the assertiveness, and again, assertive and aggressive are not the same. I think so many times we make them the same.
Yes.
Absolutely not, right? But it's so very important. Y'all come on, help us out. Make sure you like this video. Make sure that you are sharing it. Tag a friend so that we can keep the party going. Here we go, ladies. Now, this one is near and dear to me. You guys know I lost my sister last October 31st. And I remember last Thanksgiving, I remember eating without an appetite. I ate because I knew like everybody's watching, but I remember
Hmm.
Mhm.
like chewing and tears flowing, like, and we just were trying our best, to press through. I was so grateful this year. It felt so much lighter. And I think, not I think, I
Good.
know me and my mother just now really starting to process through. But grief can be really tough during the holidays. And I always say this, it's not just about the actual physical death of a being. I think when we hear grief, we automatically go, someone passed, but so many of us are living lives that are so different than what we imagine for ourselves at this point, right? And so,
Mhm.
even with that, there are feelings that come along with the realization of your reality versus what you envisioned it being. So, what do you say to people who are struggling through this time of the year with grief, be it from losing someone they love dearly or, losing the ideal life that they had? This year has been tough.
Mhm. Sure.
And I cannot say how many people who are six-figure families who are having to go through food banks right now. Like that is a reality. And so, that's a grief, not being able to splurge on certain types of food even. So what do you
Mhm.
say to people that, that is a hazard and a hurdle right now dealing through grief? So what do you say to people to help all of us navigate through that?
I guess as it pertains to grief, grief is funny. It's
It
a
is tricky.
funny
Hmm.
thing
It's
and it's
tricky.
tricky because you can feel good for years and a thing
Hmm.
happens and then you feel like the day just happened yesterday. Grief can be funny,
Mhm.
but I would advise you to feel the feels.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No one has a magic cure for grief.
Yeah.
And the only thing we can say is time. You got to give it
Hmm.
time, and it's however much time you need. No one can tell you, girl, it's been 10 years. So it does not matter.
Right.
What is that supposed to mean to me? You take as much time as you need because I can understand how grief happens, someone passed, and then the world continues to turn. Period. People are still having Christmases.
Yes.
Whether my mama's here, whether your sister's here, there's
Yeah.
Christmas still going on. People still had Thanksgiving. We're gonna celebrate the new year regardless of whom we lose. The world still turns and it still moves on. So I would advise not just to focus on the person not being here, but let's start focusing more on legacy. Because when you talk to someone about grief, they want to tell you about when I was holding their hand in the hospital and with her
Mhm.
last breath, she said that she wanted me to wait a minute. Are you telling me
Yeah.
someone you've known your whole life?
Yeah.
Right.
When you want to tell me about them, you tell me about the last 2 minutes that you share with them. What about 10 years ago when grandmama fell down them last two steps of church? What about that when it happened and y'all chuckled and had a good time? What about
Mhm.
when Big Daddy taught y'all how to make that pound cake or sent y'all around the back to help him slaughter that deer had back there, and then y'all was running out there hollering because you was scared. Things such as think about the legacy of a person, think about the sum of that person. And I always advise, like I just made up the silly stories, think about that type of thing. Think about the love and the lightheartedness and the fun that you shared, the type of person they were, the things they taught you, the things that you want to live on. We have to start focusing on that because we cannot change that last minute or two. But what we can do is allow them to live on through their legacy, which is us. And the
Yeah.
things we remember, the things we share, the things we tell people, and not only remembering them and their legacy, I'm going to also advise you to do a thing. If your mama made that pound cake, and Lord knows we missing it, you and your sisters or cousins, y'all get together and make that pound cake. Y'all sit in that kitchen to figure out how to get that pound cake together. In honor of mama, we making her
Yeah.
world famous pound cake. And we might cry a little bit as we stirring it. And that's okay. We're gonna cry and hug and love on each other, but we're gonna have that pound cake. If Uncle Eddie's favorite song was Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, when we think about him, we're gonna play that Marvin Gaye and we're gonna dance around in that living room because this was his jam, and I could see him dancing
Mhm.
with his cup of cognac, whatever the thing is.
Oh,
With
yes.
that, and see how you're laughing now? That's
Yeah.
what I want to see. That's what it is. We
Yeah.
have to find
Yes.
those moments and we focus on those things because yes, it's tough. We don't know why,
Yes.
but dealing with and staying stagnant on those points of this thing happened, they're not here, it's not moving us forward. And we have to, it's difficult, but we
Yeah.
have to move forward. So the way we do that, focusing on legacy
I love that.
and
Y'all
do
drop it in the chat. Focus on legacy. Focus on drop it in the chat, right? Focus on legacy. I love that. So I'm going to spin it to you, Dr. Williams, because I also, for this episode, again, we are all dealing with things personally and professionally. And I cannot tell you how many women I coach who are sitting in the seat of principal that are like, I thought that I wanted this. This is not
Mhm.
I envision. Like, this is not it. Or I have people who, they reached out because they're like, okay, I realize that I've been sitting in this AP spot. I want the principal spot, but I'm terrified to even submit an application, right? So some people even experience grief with, again, professionally. I'm not where I want to be professionally. How do you help them navigate? We're having the school district wide gala and I'm sitting in here and I'm feeling away professionally. How would you
Mhm.
suggest people even navigate dealing with grief professionally this time of year?
Ma'am. So before I go to that, I do want to add to
Mm,
something she said really quickly. I love her the time. I don't think people realize the time,
they don't.
and society wants to rush you. Like, girl, you still grieving after a
Mhm.
year? Yes, ma'am, I am, because this person meant something to me, or what have you. So, the thing that I would say, my last point about that before I get to your question, Dr. Nelson, is give yourself time, especially that first year from the time the person passed away. They call it the anniversaries, when their birthday was, their favorite holiday. Once you get through the first of that, then it gets a little bit easier. And I say easier, I use that term with a grain of salt, because some people just have to grieve the way that they grieve. But also, if you're stuck with that grief, of course, I always put a shameless plug in for therapy and counseling. Please go to someone and talk about it. Because honestly, 8 years after that person has passed away or what have you, or that loss, you should not still be bawling your face off like it happened yesterday necessarily. So just kind of gauging where that is, and where you may need that extra assistance of talking through it, or potentially there's some depression coming into that and you may need some medication. That's another thing Black folks don't like to talk about. Sometimes we need medication to help us through whatever that is. It is not a permanent thing. It does not have to be that way. Okay, now to your question, professionally. So I would tell that person, and have told people, that you need to reevaluate. And I know, Dr. Nelson, you would appreciate the vision board. Like, let's start where you see yourself, or where you thought you were supposed to be at 30 or 35, or
Yeah.
whatever that was professionally, and where you may have gotten off track, or if you feel stuck in your current position because you want to do something different, then write it down, talk through what are the
Yeah.
steps that I can do to make it through that. But I'm a firm believer, I am a spiritual person, and I do believe that you're right where you're supposed to be, even though it sucks, because I have been there. Before I became the supervisor, I was a worker bee and I loved my job. But when I was going through the potential of coming to that, it was difficult because the prior supervisor was not nice and was planting seeds that were unnecessary. Like, you getting ready to go, honey. Why do you care what happens after you're gone? Like, retire and let's move on with life and be happy. Whatever. I did not understand why she had that target towards me, but I really started questioning, because it was roadblock after roadblock. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm confused. Is this
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to be doing or not? So definitely leaning on that higher power if you have one,
Yes.
and if you believe in that. But I would say just kind of walking through where you want to be, where you are, and processing some of those things
I love that. So
professionally.
yeah, I have a shirt that says I love God and my therapist. Like, that's a real thing. I think so many times,
Yes,
especially here in the deep south, the Bible Belt, if you will,
yes,
like, we just feel like if I love God, I don't need a therapist, right? And I just disagree wholeheartedly with that. There is something
absolutely.
powerful about talking your feelings out loud. And I think so many of us are dealing with, and you guys know this from a research standpoint, we're dealing with all type of physical and health ailments because of our emotional state.
Yes,
Won't
yes,
say the things that need to be said, and our bodies are fighting us because of it, right? And so that's a major piece of why the boss framework, right? So advocates, we've got to learn, how do you advocate for yourself, and how do you
yes.
advocate for those you serve, right? Personally and professionally. So critically important. You guys have been amazing. Okay, we down to the last question. You guys have been so phenomenal. Here we go. Last question of the night. And y'all, make sure you've liked this video, you've shared this video. This may be one that you want to come back to. I'm going to listen to it again even after I get off. What's one boss move that the people need in their toolbox? And you could give one or two or three. What's the toolbox? I just need to keep this one in my back pocket at all times before I get ready to walk into the holiday gathering, to make sure I'm managing emotions, expectations, and potential conflict. You guys have mentioned some of those. I will share before you start answering. I am one of those people who I'm willfully naive in life. Like, I can acknowledge, like, there are sometimes that I just want people to be so great, and I want things to be so happy go lucky, that I am willfully naive about it, right? But I also can acknowledge that I'm very forgiving. I give grace. I give grace. I give one time, two times, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. But about the eighth time, what if your behavior towards me is continuing to be the same? And we've talked about it, and I've made sure that my communication was clear, right, and kind. And we revisited. Well, at about the eighth point, that means to me that you've decided that regardless of how I feel and how I stand on a situation, you are going to move the way that you're moving. And so that means I need to govern myself accordingly. This is a real life situation a few weeks ago, right? I was in community with somebody who just is over time has just decided she wants to view me a certain way. I have given the olive branch. I have laid down. I have done all the things that I possibly in my human brain could figure out to do to show this person that, hey, I'm just an old country girl, want to get to know you. We're on the same organization or whatever. Guess what? I decided I was not going to miss the event because we love everybody. We have a great time. But I made sure that I was not going to give any of my good time, of my good energy to this individual. And we all had a great night. It was just that simple because at that point I had decided that I have given so much time and energy to try to repair something that I don't even know what it is, right? And so at this point, this person has made it clear they do not care what I think. They do not care how I feel. And so it's up to me to govern myself accordingly. And I tell you guys, if you want to make impact, hear me clear. If you want to make impact, you've got to have enough time and enough energy to do so. And wasting your time and your energy somewhere that's void, oh my goodness, you will never get it back. And so I encourage you to govern yourself accordingly. So that's one of my tricks. Okay. After I have given grace, I have talked, communicated, we've negotiated all the things, and you continue that, you know what, I'm going to be disrespectful towards you. I'm going to be ugly. Well, you still don't get that choice because I'm just going to remove myself, right? Because I'm never going to be disrespectful to you. So you still don't get to do it. You just don't have the access of my presence and the access of my good conversation. You can't have it, right? So that's one. That's a boundary for me that after I've decided and you've shown me that that's what it is, I will move accordingly. So that's a tool for me. What are some other tools that you encourage people to use? Because again, as I mentioned before, I'm at that point that I'm struggling because we're at the age where if we don't keep our family's traditions going, they disappear. We're at the age where in our workplaces, we got all these Gen Z, Gen Y, we don't model effective, appropriate behavior. It's lost, right? So I don't feel that I always just can remove myself. I don't want to just remove myself, but I want to go in fully loaded to be successful. So that's one for me. What do you say to the people? What can they walk in with to make sure that they are setting themselves up to be successful in these scenarios?
Okay, well, as we think about going into the holiday season and being successful, the first thing I would tell you, and it's very simple, prioritize your needs. And when I say needs,
That prioritize my need.
make sure you're eating and sleeping. Let's start there. Eat your 3 meals a day. If you're a snacker, put your snacks in between. Get rest at night. We're not staying up all night, wrapping no gifts, planning no menus. We're not doing that. We're going to sleep at night and we're getting 8 hours or however many hours we need to be rested. So first off, just a simple prioritize yourself. Because during this time of year, we're ripping, we're running, picking this person up from the airport, we're taking this one to the airport, we're driving here, we're driving there. We forgot this from the store. We got to go pick this up from the store. He don't eat dairy. She a vegetarian. We're doing a lot and we spread ourselves thin. So first off, make sure you're prioritizing your needs. Make sure your needs are met. You're eating, you're sleeping, you washing your tail. Just make sure you're doing stuff to take care of you. First of all, that would be my first one. And that seems simple, but we can get that. You probably ate all day because you ripping and running and stirring pots up. Take a moment and take care of yourself so you can give like you want to give, but you can't if your cup is empty. Also, go into the season with a positive perspective, like I talked a little bit about before. We want to create this because sometimes we don't wake up happy. Everybody don't wake up happy. Everybody don't wake up in a good mood. Sometimes we got to create it. So we want to go into this thing with a positive perspective. I'm going to have an amazing holiday. And these are the things that I'm going to put in place to make sure it's amazing. And if things happen, I get it. But I'm going to put these things in place so this holiday season can be bright and it can be better because it's not going to be the best and perfect, but it can be better than maybe something I had previously. Also, I don't know, this may be in particular for women, but men as well. Please remember that you are not Martha Stewart. That's not you. You're not Martha
Mm-hmm.
Stewart. You can't do it all. You can't make your gravies from scratch, and then you making going in the backyard and cutting down a tree to make garland to put on your fireplace, and then you cooking all the meals, and you hand sewing stuff. You making quilts by hand, and you making handmade face paint. Ma'am and sir,
All in one
you are
day.
not
All in one
Martha
day.
Stewart. She has a staff that helps her. Oprah,
Right.
Oprah has a staff. She has a man in her kitchen cooking these things. She has somebody going to the store and buying her gifts. Oprah ain't going to nobody's store. We are not Martha and we are not Oprah. And it's okay. We don't have to be. Remember, you're not that. We get to delegate. We get to ask people to help us. We get to make short a list. I love a list, but what I love more than a list is a short one. Make make your goals something that you can actually achieve. You can't make 10 dishes, but you sure can make five. You got that. So I'm gonna make five this year. I'm not doing 10 dishes, I'm making five. You can't make four pies, but I'm sure you can make two. Oh, yeah, I got two. So remember, you're not Martha. You get to ask for help if you need it. If you can't handle it on your own, it's okay.
Drop
If
it in
you
the
can't
chat.
handle,
Ask for
if you
help.
can't handle having it at your house, if having something at your house is going to stress you out, I get it. It's okay to say, look, y'all, I need some help. I can't handle it. So ask for help. Delegate some tasks and make that list shorter. You don't have to do all the things on your Pinterest board. Just pick out the ones that mean the most to you and you feel will make the most impact and do those things. So those are the things I would suggest. Just keep it simple. Prioritize your needs. Go into it with a positive perspective. And remember, you can't do it all and it's okay.
I love it. Dr. Williams, come on with it. What you got for us?
So first of all, I want to piggyback on something you said, Dr. Nelson, and of course that famous quote that means a lot to me. When people show you who they are, believe them. So I used to be a people pleaser. I gave up that long time ago because I can't fix you. You're gonna have to do what you need to do. So like you said, removing yourself from the situation or being cordial and keep it moving because I can't. We're not gonna get along. That's the end of that. So I really love that. You're exactly right. And I love your grace, what you said about grace and not wanting to be disrespectful and give tit for tat kind of foolishness. Because personally, I'm too old for that too. And I'm too old to be fixing people and
My
trying
good
to do
energy.
all right. Time and my peace mean too much to be wasting it on that. The other thing that she said, everything was wonderful, Miss Reynolds, that you said. One of the
Oh,
things is so important for Black women, especially. It's called, and now there is research that has been done on this called the Sojourner Truth Syndrome, where we feel like we have to do it all, be everything to everybody. You cannot be everything to everybody. And I appreciate her saying that because sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to say
absolutely.
no, to not try to do it all. We want to do it all. And there's just no possible way to do that. The only other thing I would add, the boss move, would be confidence. When you're going
Absolutely.
into these situations, confidence. Listen, I know who Jamie is, and I love every part of Jamie. Jamie's going to be Jamie. And we all have things that we're working on, but I'm like, this is me. Either you're going to accept me or you're not. But hopefully you will accept me. But I have come to a stage in my life where I'm not worried about whether you accept me or not because I'm confident in who I am in all aspects of what that is, my flaws and all. So loving ourselves and being confident when we're walking into these situations to know that you got it. You got this. You got the family dinner. You got whatever is going on. You got the work function, especially with all the tools that we've talked about prior to now.
You guys have been absolutely amazing. Y'all come on. Y'all know what we do because I'm a teacher and class is in session. We want to hear in the box, right? Drop it in the text box. What is your one takeaway from tonight? And these ladies are going to tell you how to find them. Also, if you're dropping that in, I want you guys to know it is time. The new year is gearing up. And we are gearing up for our next vision party. Notice I did not say vision board. We're not pulling out boards, honey. We're bigger than boards. We are talking big ideas. We're talking strategies. We are talking about how do you make more income? How do you make more impact by showing up more the version of you? And so we're so excited to feature three amazing trailblazers who really have charted spaces in their own way. And we also are going to have two folks who figured out how to advocate for themselves and for others. And we're going to let them walk you through some scenarios. So make sure that you click on that, even if you're not here on the Gulf Coast. Y'all, everybody enjoys a good night in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Sure.
So go ahead, click on the link. Get your ticket. It's going to sell out. Our events always do because they are so jam-packed with impact. So again, make sure that you get your ticket. And I'll also add this one more thing. Y'all drop this in the chat too as you're getting ready to talk about what's your one takeaway. Presence over perfection. That has been one for me. Y'all know I am a recovering perfectionist. And so I have had to learn. There have been times in my life where like I didn't get the right bow on something and I would just stress so much over that I wouldn't even bring the gift in, right? Little things like, I was that bad. And so I have learned your presence is the gift, right? This time of year, just being fully there with people, because y'all, the best thing you could ever give somebody is your time. That is the most valuable, precious thing you could ever be. Is foot like Erica Badu said, I can make you put your phone down. Y'all put those phones down. Put your phone down. Get there with your people. That's so presence over perfection. And then asking for help. This is a real life story. Thanksgiving, I was not supposed to do Thanksgiving at my house. I ended up having to do it at my house. Y'all, the house was a hot mess because I'm never there. I had to call somebody. I was like, girl, do you have availability to come over there? Right. So asking for help and then presence over perfection are two things that for us women who feel like we do have to have it all together, ask for help. Somebody's come on with it, y'all. I'm waiting. The exit ticket is here. What's your one takeaway from tonight as you guys are dropping that? Dr. Williams, how can somebody find you if they want to hook up with you, social media, or even reach out to you, any way of communication? How can they reach you?
Yes, ma'am. And I am not as present on social media as I probably should be nowadays, but definitely my email is jlw1920@gmail.com.
I love that. We'll drop that in the chat too. Miss Reynolds, how can the find you?
I'm keeping it simple as well. I am Discovering Peace Counseling Services, and you can contact me at 769-257-0771. At that number, you can call and leave a message if you want a return call, as well as text if you need to. So again, that is 769-257-0771, Discovering Peace Counseling Services.
I love it. You guys have been more than amazing. Listen, and for those of you who are on, let's say you're running a school, you're running an organization, a nonprofit, K-12, and anything in between, governmental, y'all, we have that now on our list. We service governmental agencies, and we're so excited about that. But how are you kicking off the new year with your team? You probably need a leadership retreat, and I have about 2 more dates. So reach out to me if our team could be of service to you in helping you kick off the year with stronger, bolder leadership, more effective communication, and higher levels of teamwork. You know, the higher the levels of teamwork, your productivity goes up, your results skyrocket, whether you're in a school or in a corporation. So make sure you're reaching out. All you got to do is reach us at contact@bosseducator.com. Again, ladies, I cannot say thank you enough. You have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, great.
What we're going to tell the people, y'all drop it in the chat. I am ready to make boss moves this holiday season. Drop that in the chat on your way out. Remember, boss, us being bold, be fiercely authentic, the best version of yourself, and remember to advocate for yourself and for others. Optimistic, that came up several times tonight. Positive perspective matters. Being spontaneous, go have fun. Do something new. Try something new with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. And the last thing stands for substantial. And you guys touched even on that tonight about it's about legacy. It's about
Mhm.
legacy. So y'all drop it in the chat. Make sure you've liked the video, you shared the video, and y'all go make some boss moves this week. Ladies, tell them go make boss moves this week.
Be
Boss
balls,
moves.
be balls,
Woo!
be balls.